Oh, 60 minutes, baby. Oh, 60 minutes. Oh, my goodness. Oh, ain't no doubt about it. It's going to be a long day for some boys today, Coach.
Pittsburgh at the half. Jerome Bettis looks good in Steeler colors.
Yeah, and Bill Cowher makes outstanding usage of Bettis, running him north and south there. He gets 9 yards. You see him get another 9, but he's moving up the field and not laterally. Even here on a play that could go laterally, he changes directions, moves up the football field, and burrows through the defense for 12 yards.
Bettis after 2 series, and the big back is in, and the big back has the ball, and the ex-Ram who rambled for over 100 last week, off to a good start tonight up to the 37-yard line. Stewart to Bettis, touchdown.
Well, that's a fine-looking series of plays. That'll give a defensive coordinator, Dan, a lot to think about.
More key people could the Steelers afford to lose. 2nd down and 10, and they set up the screen. Not a pretty screen, but a very effective one as Bettis goes out of bounds. Stewart in motion. Tomczak floats one into the arms of Bettis, and then Pop runs him out of bounds at about the 14-yard line. Asking him to go one-on-one against Smith is asking a lot. Johnson comes out of the game, injured his arm, as Bettis rams his way up to the 41-yard line.
You can just almost cash this check. Watch this. This is classic. Covering up the football in the traffic, bowling over would-be tacklers. They'll hear about that. Scholes and Henry Jones.
And not a stellar series for Henry Jones, was it? 2 missed tackles. On the 21-yard line, Tomczak gives the ball to Bettis, who bangs his way through the middle, tackled by Henry Jones, who piggybacks him down at the 34-yard line.
Bettis has outrushed the entire Ram team this year. Bettis, 84 carries, 421 yards. 9 different Ram backs, 102 carries, 343 yards, and St. Louis has had 1 more game. Bettis and the Steelers locking up with the Chiefs. Thick irony here. Before racking up 3 straight 100-yard games this season, Bettis' next to last 100-yard game was in 1994 against the Chiefs. Memo to KC, the Steelers' 8-1 Monday night record in the 90s is the best in the NFL. The second half, after a Chiefs turnover, Jerome Bettis slam dances for 13 yards, but Dale Carter slam dances on the ball, recovers the fumble. Carter's first fumble recovery this year. Steelers entered the game +7 turnover, 338 yards through the air. 7 plays later, Jerome Bettis is the bomb. Great second effort, 5 yards and out. He had 103 yards rushing, his 17th career rushing touchdown with a 2-point conversion. Steelers up 14-7. Fourth quarter, same score, Steelers driving. Jerome Bettis coughs up the ball. Brian Washington recovers. First time in Bettis' career, he's fumbled twice.
Of course, you go up against the Steeler defense, you rile them up, as we'll talk about in a moment. And you also don't need to rile up Jerome Bettis. He runs one way, Tom, head straight ahead. Very early on, it was clear what the Steelers tried to do.
Yeah, I think the thing that the Steelers have done, besides giving him an offensive line that he can be productive with, is you notice that, as you said, it's always north-south. It's moving up the football field. Very little movement laterally.
Scored tonight at 17, and it's Jerome Bettis. You can use the description rumbling to describe his running style.
These guys, you know, they didn't want me last year. You know, I was going to go out there and try to put a hurting on those guys. They said I was done, over with, finished. Yeah. Wait till they get a load of me.
Jerome Bettis going up against his former team and Coach Rich Brooks. It's chilly, but Jerome Bettis says, let me light up the blast furnace. Bangs his way up the middle for 8 yards. Once upon a time, Jerome Bettis, 1,000-yard season for the LA Rams. Look at him as a Steeler, 10 more yards. Then second to goal, Cordell Stewart. No, we just give it to Bettis when he's running like that. 8 carries, 38 yards on the first possession, 7-0 for the Steelers. The corner blitz in the Steelers hole then. Jerome Bettis, north and south all the way. Let him go. Go all the way. No one's going to catch him. Bettis. Remember when he used to be loud and we used to be a tough place to play? Well, Jerome Bettis says, I don't remember that. Rolls past James Francis like a freight train, 28 yards. Bettis has had 100 yards out almost every game for the Steelers. And watch this. Boom. 15 yards out of the 7. 2 plays later, from the 6, Bettis, boom, just like that. 8 touchdowns for him. 10-3, Pittsburgh. Next play, Cordell in, but it's a straight hand up to Jerome Bettis. 1, 2, 3, 4 Jaguars on his back.
On 3rd and goal. 4th down, TJ.
Well, always good to go to the bus right there. Jerome Bettis lowers his head. He's pounding. And right there,
5, 6,
held out.
13-7 Pittsburgh at halftime. 3rd quarter, more Bettis. Kidding. but we got to go to a 40 acres and a mule production. In the words of Spike Lee, get on the bus, ride the bus. Jerome, 11 more.
And play the football. You have to get your head around.
Late in the first half, 10-0 Jacksonville. Hop on the bus, Gus. Jerome Bettis for 18 yards down to the 20-yard line. Do not score. 10-7, fourth quarter. The bus, Jerome Bettis. Shakes off quick, beat tacklers down to the 1. Then, third down. This play never works in Super Bowls, but at other times it works in the AFC. The shovel pass to the bus. Shovel to the bus. Stewart to Bettis. Touchdown. Jerome, you better, you better, you better. Takes the handoff. Boom, it's 15 yards for a first down, setting up a field goal. Bettis, 101 yards. 0-3 lifetime at Sun Devil Stadium, including the Super Bowl a couple years ago. This time they have the bus. Jerome Bettis for 7 yards. Then Jerome Bettis. It's 14 yards. I know the sound effects union is going to get on me. Mean Joe Green, Cards defensive line coach. He's watching, wait a minute, this is my old team. They're running against me. I don't get it. Not Cower. I love this. Don Coryell was the first to do this. We're going for the end zone anyway. Cower's done it twice this year, both times in overtime.
To win their division. Later in the fourth now. Screen pass to Bettis. And it's a big game, but right there you see the flag thrown. So at this point, the entire Pittsburgh sideline knew this play wouldn't count. Holding on Will Wolford, and the Steelers bring the play back.
Later in the second, Jerome Bettis had a horrible game last week against Baltimore. Rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. 42 yards for the bus that sets up a 1-yard run by him. He had 85 yards rushing in the first half, but 9-7 Bears. And one way to do that behind the center is give it to this guy.
Yeah, give it to the bus, Jerome Bettis. He did a lot of his work inside the tackles. He was a punishing runner all day. That's what will help Cordell Stewart be a better quarterback.
3 plays.
Quarterback, great effort by Hawkins.
Jerome Bettis had a touchdown earlier, but he had to leave, helped off, injuring his left knee on this 4-yard run. So the Steelers were hoping to get their offense geared up after the bye week against Pittsburgh. And now what happens here, Tom, because Strelzik's out for the year at right tackle.
Yeah, Jermaine Stevens in, and you can see right there he had a hard time finding his guy picking up, and you can see Jerome Bettis' concern, maybe overly so right there.
At the 22, Stewart. Little screen pass to Jerome Bettis. Nothing little about Bettis. Booming. The bus. You can't stop the bus. That set up a field goal, 27-0 Steelers. Holmgren not happy. Bettis is. 27-3. 2 minutes left. Jerome Bettis goes over 100 yards for the 7th Monday night in a row. Steelers win it. Hold on for dear life. Picking up the victory by the final.
He threw a shoe. But meanwhile, the Steelers get the bus into the end zone.
A growing young quarterback.
So it's still 14-3. Jerome Bettis up the gut for 17 yards. The bus helps the Steelers lead 17-3. First 100-yard game of the season for him. He's had 7 of them in his career.
Rain started. You can see Cordell really feeling comfortable in the pocket.
The bus, Jerome Bettis goes in at 7-0 Pittsburgh. And the key is he's also spreading it to all his receivers. And then John Whitman and Brendan Stye on the touchdown.
Well, look at the hole that's created for the bus if you give him that much room.
1. So now you know who's going to get it. Jerome Bettis, the bus. Running well all of a sudden, and the Steelers lead 17-3. This is in Jacksonville, third quarter. Now it's Pittsburgh down by a touchdown, sending the bus in motion. Look at the block. Jerome Bettis, 19 yards. Bettis, 30 carries, 134 yards, including this 8 yards right here, which ties the game at 13. Still that way early fourth quarter. Watch the Pittsburgh.
And there's an avenue for the bus, and the bus says, I'll take that avenue, it's Easy Street.
The bus just starting to roll, baby. Starting to roll.
And the give is on the counter to the bus. He goes off left tackle, charges to the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The bus was driving hard.
I came at him full throttle. He did like this. Here comes the bus. Boom. He said, what? Here comes the bus. People,
Before the game, Hank Williams Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for Pittsburgh Steelers football?
Helped in part by who else in the bus. Fourth quarter, Jerome Bettis. Shades of Franco.
22 yards. Bettis Saturday, 104 yards on 25 carries.
Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, they love their football. 57 varieties of pickles, and Jerome Bettis needs 54 yards to become the 14th man to get 10,000 yards. Bettis runs the bus, lumbering, 48-yard run. Rich Tilsky helps bring the play the guard, Tom.
Yeah, watch Tilsky here. He's going to do a great job of pulling out, just watching. Get outside on the corner. Great kick-out block. Bettis a good job of reading it, cutting up inside, getting downfield.
And then, no, he doesn't get in. The Bengals hold him. 4th and goal. The gamble does not pay off. Later in the first, this run puts him over 10,000 yards. Congratulations, Jerome. And the crowd, Bettis has had a career. 9 of his 12 games, including today, 100-yard rushing games, almost 1,300 yards. He likes this matchup. So do the Steelers. Pittsburgh. Then you have let's see, an 11-point lead. Why don't we do this? The bus not exactly looking for the sidelines. 30 yards for Jerome Bettis, who today had 100. Bettis, you know how brutal the Ravens are to run against, but Jerome Bettis, watch this run. Boom, spin, bounce. Man, that's a tough 25-yard run by the bus. Sets up a 41-yard field goal attempt from Chris.
Put Tom Thompson. Dad, look at this run, Jerome Bettis. Wow, look at the moves by Bettis. Oh, look at the moves by Bettis. 40-yard run.
Home 8-2 against Minnesota, who's 0-4 on the road. Jerome Bettis needs just 9 to go over his end, but they looked, it set up the bus. You know, he's going to get in. Bettis at 81 yards today. 7-3 Pittsburgh over Minnesota.
Handing off to Jerome Bettis, went over 11,000 yards earlier this season. The big man, 21 carries, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns in the game, and the bus is not going to need gas. The bus needs oxygen.
But just seeing him in uniform was great. Cordell Stewart started, Jerome Bettis 1-yard run, and on IR, but all would not be happy. 23-21. First, Jerome Bettis passing O.J. Simpson for 11th on the all-time list. Didn't even wear gloves doing it. It's a touchdown. 20.
That's a touchdown. Panthers within 6. Late 4th, Maddox hands off. Get on the bus, Gus. Jerome Bettis, 18 carries, 73 yards. Can a brother get some bus?
On as games go on. Here, you see the fullback, Dan Kreider, spotting the safety as he's coming up. And as soon as Jerome Bettis can, he gets north-south. He's fresh. The defense isn't. Here, motion Hines Ward inside. He and Plexico Burris do a great job of picking up. The guard comes outside. They double up. They leave the safety to Jerome Bettis, who piles down to the 1-yard line, and then a nice simple fold block. This is what they used to do.
To the 14-yard line, sets up. Jerome Bettis in the end zone, 14-12. So you got to go for 2. Mike Shanahan knows it. Bill Cowher knows it.
44 rushing yards by Pittsburgh. Steve.
Later in the third, 1st and goal for Pittsburgh. Bettis gets the Steelers back into the game. It's a 3 catch for a touchdown.
Chad beats Chad. 14-3 now. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Jerome Bettis 4th and goal. Oh, he just did break the plane before the ball popped loose. Touchdown. 12,000 yards. First time this vaunted rivalry between the Raiders Steelers, neither team was at least at 500. And in this game, it's Jerome Bettis, the bus, passing Thurman Thomas, 9th on the all-time list, and he needs 5 more yards to pass Frank Steelers and Herm Edwards Jets. Jerome Bettis passing Franco Harris for 8th all-time on the rushing list. You know what? Look at the end zone as the bus. Jerome Bettis goes in on a 20-yard run. See, we hadn't seen this highlight because it's a late game. The old, like, diagonal white lines in the end zone, that's like the old days.
The rushing list. Second quarter, 7-zip Steelers ball, Jerome Bettis. He would pass Jim Brown on the all-time rushing list.
Carry the load, and he did. 3rd and goal, the bus, touchdown. A 1-yard run, 7-0 Pittsburgh. An impressive opening drive. They had the ball. But I want you to hear the bet. Look at the bottom right of your screen. Jerome Bettis, 5 carries, 1 yard, 3 touchdowns. Tom, I've watched a lot of football.
I don't know.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that?
I don't know. Yeah. More touchdowns than yards? I don't know.
So we average Cosmo Mo Yakavazi. No, it was Rudy Johnson. At any rate, Jerome Bettis, guess what? A 1-yard touchdown, his second of the day, 13. And wait a minute now. Jerome Bettis is coming in, but they're on the 3, Tom, not the 1. And then the bust, his 6th touchdown of the season. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have a stranglehold, lead at 20. So how are they going to run? I mean, there's no way Jerome Bettis is going to take the ball. Well, then maybe sometimes he will. 16 yards. I mean, Bettis has been used inside the 5, Tom. There's no, you know what, maybe there is a way. Huh?
We'll begin with the offensive side of the game. And look at this offensive line. Look at them get hats on people, hold those blocks, allow the runner to get to the second level. Even Jerome Bettis might have known that they had to hold those blocks a little bit longer to get Jerome through than do Staley, but they do it. Now the guard,